What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Plastic Underground. This week I'm working on a fun little Batman display. Don't look at any of that stuff over there. That's all work in progress. You shouldn't even be looking at it. Yeah, I made this little Batman diorama of the Batcave with some cool Batmobiles on it. Came out pretty good. There's even a little Batman up there by the computer. But yeah, this was a little fun build. And there's the Gundam I made last week. So let's get into this video and I'll show you how I made it.
Train to the Plastic Underground. Approaching the station. Please stand away from the platform head. Alright everybody, so to start this project off, these are all of the 3D printed Batmobiles I printed out and sanded smooth. Just giving you a quick little rundown here of all the Batmobiles. I used some double-sided tape. It's like a little foam tape I get at Harbor Freight. And then I used some pill lids. And that's how I do all my miniature paintings. I stick them onto the top of the pill lids, and then I can paint it from there pretty easy. So I'm just giving everything a coat of matte black acrylic paint first. Then I can go through and start painting some of the details. I start with silver. And doing the rims and all of that kind of stuff. Then I go through with red, and I start adding all of the red trim and the bat logo and all that kind of cool stuff. You can see there to the right, I have reference images pulled up on my phone, and I do that a lot when I'm painting stuff, just so I can always kind of know where stuff needs to go. Then I can paint the interior. The nice thing about most Batmobiles is that it's black. With a little bit of red accents. Obviously this Adam West one is probably the most detailed out of the 5 that we're doing. And then I paint the windshields white, just to make it kind of look like it's different, make it look glassy. I think I even go back through and paint silver on top of that too. But yeah, then I can go through here with some All-Clad 2 gloss clear coat and spray that on top just to make everything shiny. Again, only 2 of these are shiny, the Adam West one and my brain right now, this one, the classic one, yeah, it's a good one. But yeah, they're both glossy. And then just like the other one, I go through and I start adding silver details to the pipes and the back exhaust and that kind of stuff. I also use the silver to paint the windshield just to separate it, make it look shiny. And then the tail lights on the back, get some red. And then the front blinker lights get some yellow, which is funny that he has directional blinker lights, and I don't know if he uses them. Moving on to the newer version of the Batmobile, the Challenger body style from the Batman. Same thing, this is just matte black, painting the center rims with that silver, and then I paint the engine, the exposed engine in the back, all silver too. And then switching it up with some gunmetal. This is the front bumper. It gets gunmetal. I just did this to separate the things a little bit. I thought it would look better if it was a little different. And then also that hood scoop in the front gets some gunmetal as well. I really do enjoy this version of the Batmobile. The old school Charger body style is pretty sweet. It kind of reminds me of something like the Punisher would drive. But yeah, there's a lot of really great Batmobiles, obviously. And so these are like my top ones that I'm doing in this display. These are also kind of like the most iconic ones, I would say. I know there's a lot of different versions, but these are kind of like the major ones from the past movies from from Adam West until present day. This Tumbler one was very, very easy to paint. Rims get silver, a little bit of copper for like the brackets and stuff, and the spoilers, and then that was it. Going back to the animated one, I painted that black originally, but now I'm going through and I'm painting it a dark blue. I decided that I wanted to do the animated paint style instead of just making it look more realistic. I wanted to actually kind of paint it cell shaded and make it look like it was drawn. I thought that would be fun. So again, paint it blue, paint the rims silver. And he's got some pipes on top. They get painted silver as well. And then the front grille also gets a coat of silver as well. This also has the yellow turn signals in the front. Then I can start with the cell shading. So starting on the side of the Batmobile, I using just some black acrylic paint and painting most of the side. That's kind of like where the shadow would be. Then I go through with some brighter blue, using that as like my highlight color. I basically paint that like on the top parts where the light would hit it. I'm also looking at like a reference image of like the drawn Batmobile from a specific angle, just to try to see where that different color changes would come from. Then even lighter blue, I paint the windshield. And then when that's dry, I add some white highlights to the windshield itself. And that is it for the Batmobiles. Now I can move on to the computer. So this is getting some dark red. This is just some red and black mixed together. So paint the whole thing there. These are some side tables next to the Bat computer. The one has like the teapot and that kind of stuff on. The other one is also like a little side computer or printer or something. I'm not 100% sure on what that is used for. But then I go ahead and I paint in all the square screen parts, just a white, just to make it look like they're lit up. Main screen gets a gloss black. I debated on whether or not to like print out like a little graphic thing to put on this screen or to paint something on there. I ended up not doing anything. I just left it the gloss black. I thought that looked pretty good. And then I'm using some silver and going through and painting some buttons, some switches in the phone. That's what's funny about the animated series is that Batman has like an analog corded phone on his computer, which is pretty funny. Then I paint the coffee pot, or the teapot, all silver on that little tray. Now moving over to his chair, I paint that whole thing silver. And then I go through and I paint his cushion part gloss black to make it look like leather. I don't think that's 100% accurate. I think the whole thing is like a gray, but I thought this looked better and looked more like a Star Trek chair, captain chair, so it's pretty fitting. This is a tiny Batman I printed, and I'm just going ahead and I'm painting the whole thing blue first, doing the most color first is always a good way to airbrush. And then I'm going through by hand and just painting his gray suit parts. So basically just his legs and his chest area gets that gray. Then I'm going in with some yellow. I'm doing his belt. Then I also do the big oval on his chest for the bat symbol. Then I go through with some black, and now I start to kind of cell shade in the cape, adding some shadows to the cape, bringing that black back in. Now I kind of put all the Batmobiles on a piece of paper just to kind of figure out the exact layout I wanted to do. I wanted to make it look like the Batcave, but not like crazy detail. I wanted to still kind of match that animated feel. So I just kind of drew out this weird looking shape, traced that to some insulation foam board. You can buy these in huge 4x8 sheets, but if you are like me, you can go to Lowe's and you can get this they call it a hobby section. Comes in like, is it a foot? No, I think it's 2x2, 2 foot by 2 foot little square for $10. It's a lot easier to get in your car. And it's way cheaper than buying like a full sheet. Probably not over the long period. It would be cheaper just to buy a full sheet. But I don't have room for a full sheet, so this is what I do. I cut that kind of off at an angle, and then I'm just using my blade and going through and just carving some cuts and grooves into the side to make it look like it's been like rock cave that's been chiseled out by like machinery. Then I put my template back on, and then I kind of figured out where I wanted like the second tier for the computer. And same deal with that. I cut that out of the foam, and I just start chipping away at the edges there to make that look like that was a chunk of rock too. And I also carved in some stairs so that Alfred can take the stairs up and bring Batman his tray of tea or coffee, whatever he drinks. Trying to be neat with my cuts, but also it's supposed to look like carved stone, carved rock out of the cave, so not getting too crazy. Adding a little bit of hot glue, and then sticking that in place where I want it to sit. Now this is some foam board. It's just some cheap foam board you can get at the dollar store. I'm using these to cut out the circle pedestals that the Batmobiles will be sitting on. So I cut these circles out, and then I sand the edges, just because you never get a super clean cut when doing a circle. Sand the edges, and then I round over the top of the foam as well. This stuff is gap filler. This is like for cosplay, like foam. You put this on EVA foam, and then you can sand it. It gives you like a smoother finish. I haven't used this in a while. This is an old bottle I had laying around, but I thought I would use this on this to make it. It's got some grit to it, so kind of filled in the foam, made it pretty gritty, made it kind of cool. And then also on the pedestals, I can sand those super smooth. So I wanted the pedestals to kind of look like concrete, like poured concrete. I just made this little railing out of some wooden dowels, and then I glue that into place, just so there's a little hand railing up the staircase there. Then I can go through and I paint the entire base with a black acrylic. Painting is always the fun part. This is always like the stage that I'm like rushing to get to so I can paint it. This is also the part too where it takes a lot of time to really make sure you're getting the paint in the like cuts, the foam cuts. You don't want to be able to see any green showing through. Then I go through on top, and I'm using this. This is like a. It's got a weird name. It's like a gray. It's like slate gray or something. I think it's weirder than that. But I'm just using a big makeup brush to just go ahead and dry brush this color all over this base. I do the top and the sides. Then I use some even lighter gray, and then I go through and I dry brush that on too. That's the thing about dry brushing, is that you can just keep building up different colors lighter and lighter, and it helps really sell that look of different texture, different look of stuff. Yeah, then I'm using some gunmetal to paint that railing. And then I also wanted the little circle pedestals to be a gunmetal as well. Make it look more like they were like a steel plate and not concrete. And I really like the way that looks. It kind of is shiny. It looks kind of cool. Matches that like aesthetic. I was pretty happy with the way that those came out. So now I'm just using some cheap super glue. And since we coated the foam in that gap filler stuff and then paint, you can use super glue on top without it melting through the foam. But I glue the computer in first, kind of set my chair where I want it to be. And the same thing with all these other little detail parts here. I'm thinking now that I should have tried to print a little Alfred holding a tray. That would have been cool. But that's all right. Maybe I'll add it to it later. Now you can see just how small this Batman is. I put glue on the paper first and then kind of like stick his feet in it. That's a better way of getting glue on his feet than trying to put the glue directly to his feet and getting glue all over the side. Yeah, then I go ahead and I can glue the Batmobiles in place as well. So same deal with those, just adding a little glue to the wheels, sticking them in place. The animated Batmobile is in the center, ready to go out of the cave. And then all of the other ones get glued to the side. So yeah, that's it. That's how I made this little Batcave Batmobile diorama. I really hope that you guys enjoy it. Let me know if there's a Batmobile that you would have liked to seen on there more than the ones that I did. And let me know if you want to see any other Batman stuff. After I built this, I was like, man, I really need to make a second layer and do like the Bat boat and the Batwing and all that fun museum stuff with like the giant penny and the T-Rex. But I don't know how crazy I want to get. But let me know if you want me to see me do that. And maybe I'll add it to the list. All right, I'll catch you guys next week when we make something cool.